Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Newland, you mentioned the benefits to not only those countries, to the EU, to America, but also to Russia. Can you expand a little bit more in terms of the win-win-win type of situation that you're thinking of there?
Well, as you know, Senator, we are, even as we talk about the Eastern Partnership today, we are also in discussions, the United States is, with the 28 members of the EU on the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, which is designed to reduce tariff and non-tariff barriers to trade, to increase trade between our countries, to grow our economies. If we are successful in the TTIP context, and if the Eastern Partnership countries are able to begin to gain the benefits of the free trade offering that the EU has, then you could see this greater free trade space, as I said, perhaps all the way from Los Angeles to Donetsk. The EU has offered the same kinds of trade benefits to Russia if Russia will take the internal reform steps and open its market reciprocally to the EU. So there is an offer on the table to Russia to have the same kind of relationship as Ukraine and Georgia and Moldova hope to have with the EU. We on the U.S. side are also very interested in increasing bilateral trade with Russia and reducing barriers. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but given the size of our respective economies, the trade two ways is pretty pathetic, and we can do a lot better, but there are a lot of built-in barriers to trade. One of the things we've proposed to the Russian government is a bilateral investment treaty, and we're waiting for a response on that. So you could see a scenario if everybody began moving in a more free trade direction, where our market really sets a global example for low tariffs, low barriers, and jobs grow everywhere.
So how receptive have the Russians been to those, really words of wisdom?
It's a work in progress.
Are you prepared really to talk about the state of the economies of Ukraine, Georgia, and Moldova? They've been pretty flat, they've been declining, what the potentials would be?
Senator, I don't have statistics in front of me. We can get those to your staff. The Georgian economy has done better than expected. As you know, after the difficulties of 2008 and the Russia-Georgia war and the cutoff of most of Georgia's exports to Russia, Georgia has worked very hard to diversify its economy, to diversify its markets, and now it does most of its trading to the West. So that not only helped it weather that difficult period, it also helped it significantly during the larger economic recession that we've all been going through. That said, the Georgian economy is now not growing at the rate that it was, and the next tranche of reform, et cetera, and market opening is necessary. On the Moldovan side, it is a tiny market. It is not well known even to Europeans, let alone to Americans. So I think some of you had a chance to meet Foreign Minister Gehrman when she was here, trying to put her country on the map in terms of American political leaders and American business supporting Moldova. We believe that there's quite a bit more that can be done in terms of spurring trade and investment from the EU, but also from the United States in Moldova, and not just in the traditional wine sector, but in other aspects of agriculture and high technology. They've got a very educated population. So we're working with the EU on that, but they definitely need now growth west, and they need to link their market more tightly to the EU. On the Ukrainian side, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's a pretty perilous situation right now in terms of their ability to borrow on investment markets, in terms of their the expenses primarily in the energy sector. When I was there about 10 days ago, they were speaking in terms of very, very ambitious projects to have energy efficiency programs in their major cities. It was already 20 degrees, but yet you could see government buildings with the windows open because the heating and cooling doesn't work properly, and they lose a huge amount of money every year out the windows. So culmination of that, anti-corruption, and more markets west so that they are not as dependent on one market will help the Ukrainian economy, plus the IMF deal.
You mentioned corruption in Ukraine. When I was there a couple of years ago, I certainly saw the potential in terms of agriculture, in terms of wheat production, but something really holding them back really was the cronyism, the corruption within those markets, if you want to call them that. Has any progress been made? Has it been backsliding?
Well, again, some of the legislative changes and market changes that they've had to make to be ready for the EU association agreement go to greater transparency in government, those kinds of things, but there's more work to be done, and we would like to do more with Ukraine on countering corruption. The Georgians, I would say, have taken a great leap in countering corruption, largely through efforts to do things like put all government contracting on the internet, those kinds of things that could be done in other Eastern Partnership countries.
I mean, there continues to be a big problem. This is just true of fledgling democracies, is a smooth transition of power from one government to the other, where you're not witnessing political prosecutions. We talked a little bit about Ukraine. What about in Georgia?
Well, Senator, as I said in my opening, I think one of the great news stories of the last couple of months is that we have had a smooth and democratic transition of power in Georgia for the first time since independence through the ballot box, and the elections were good. So that's a step in the right direction.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Nuland, as you probably know, Senator Shaheen and I